What's up guys, Shane Storms with Droid Modder X, and today we're going to unbox the preview version of the LG G4. LG sent this to me in the mail a few days ago, and well actually I got it yesterday. They overnighted it. It's here yesterday. I kind of opened it up and played around with it. Now keep in mind that as we do this unboxing, this is not the final retail packaging, so there's probably some stuff here that's going to be missing, but this serves as kind of like a preview unboxing for the LG G4. As you guys know, it's not even released yet. So what we'll do here is take a look at the box. You got the G4 logo here, G4 logo on the side. We've got G4 logo there, LG logo on top, and we've got a little red bottom here. So we'll go ahead and just kind of pop the top to reveal a fresh, shiny new LG G4. So as you guys can see, this is the plastic back version. It looks pretty nice. It's got this diamond type of pattern etched into the plastic. Now, it is plastic, so it doesn't have that premium feel as like maybe the leather back, but we'll just see what else is in the box. And really, like I said, guys, this is the preview version, so there's nothing special or fancy here. We have that fast charger and a USB charge cable. So we'll kind of set all that to the side, and we'll look at the LG G4. As you guys can see, the design is not a whole lot different from the LG G3. Of course, the edges are a little more rounded here. They're a little more boxed and squared on the G4. Of course, the same kind of plastic look. This one had more of a metallic look on the G3 versus that diamond plated look on the G4. If we take a look at the size of the phones, you guys can see that the G4 is a little bit taller and a little bit wider than the LG G3. They're about the same thickness, as you guys can see. And then also, I don't know if you can tell, but that G4 kind of has just a little bit of curve to it. Not as much as the G Flex, but as you guys can see there is a little bit of a curve to that, which will help you like whenever you're swiping with your thumb. It just makes using the phone a little easier with that slight curve. I remember the curve on the Galaxy Nexus back in the day, and it really does feel a whole lot better when you're swiping from screen to screen. As you guys can see here on the back, we do have that same button layout with your volume rocker and your power button on the back, which I thought it was kind of a gimmick on the G3, but I found out real quickly that it's just the perfect placement for a power button and for your volume rockers. You don't have to kind of like fiddle around and find the power button on the side. So I actually really do like the back buttons there on the G4, and it is not a gimmick. It's actually very, very useful. We'll go ahead and talk about specs while we turn this one on. Okay, so this is a 5.5-inch UHD screen, so it's got double 1080p resolution at 1440 by 2560. That's 538 pixels per inch. This is an IPS display, and it's protected by Gorilla Glass 3. But you guys can see already, and it booted pretty fast, which is awesome. But you guys can see already just how awesome the display looks. Okay, so this is rocking the Qualcomm Snapdragon 808 processor, so processes on your phone should be amazingly fast. We'll just kind of swipe from screen to screen so you guys can see how fast it is. Everything's nice and fluid and fast. So I've only been using this for a couple of days, but I'm already finding out that I really enjoy this phone as much as the LG G3, which also happened to be one of my favorite devices. You do have 3 gigabytes of RAM and 32 gigabytes of onboard storage, but one thing that I love about the LG phone is that they decided not to skimp out on features like removable battery and micro SD card slot. So if we go ahead and peel off that plastic back, you guys can see that we have a removable battery, 3,000 milliamp hours, which is quite a bit larger than the Galaxy S6 battery, which was only 2,550 milliamp hours. That Galaxy S6 battery lasts me about 10 to 15 hours, just depending on how much I use the phone. This 3,000 milliamp hour battery should get us a little further through the day, possibly even the full day. I'll know more about that as I use it, but then also you'll see up here that we do have a micro SD card slot, so you're able to expand your storage without having to use like a clunky OTG cable, which is pretty awesome. So that's a big plus for the LG G4. And then while we're on the back side here, we'll talk about the camera. The camera is the selling point of this phone. So this is what G4 is really touting as the reason to buy this flagship over, say, a Galaxy S6 or a Galaxy S6 Edge. Now, when I first started using the S6 Edge, I thought to myself, wow, this is the best camera I've ever used. And I was kind of thinking, you know, really, could the G4 camera be that much better? And like I said, I've had limited experience with this, but just the few pictures that I took, mostly in low light, they were amazing. And that's due to the 16 megapixel rear shooter with the f1.8 aperture lens. Now that f1.8 aperture lens just really soaks up and absorbs any light that's in the room, and it takes away all the noise. When I'm talking about noise, I'm talking about the little graininess that you get sometimes in a low light picture. That lens will take away most of that graininess, and part of the reason it does that, which is awesome, and another thing that I love about this camera app, if we do open up the camera app, you'll see that there is a full manual mode. So I played around with this for a little while the other day, and right now you guys can see that you can set the ISO. So as you guys can see, there's tons of lights here in the room, and when you raise the ISO, you can see that it's picking up more and more light, and when you lower the ISO, it kills off some of that light. But having the ability to change that ISO setting and to change your white balance is going to help in low light situations. So you can actually manually set up your white balance here. You can make your pictures warmer, so give them more of a yellow tint, or you can make them cooler, giving them more of a blue tint. So the lower we go, see how you can make it warm. You can make it cool there, or you can make it warm. Of course, you can choose auto. You can choose the shutter speed, so you can actually make your shutter stay open for 30 seconds, which gives you those long shots. Like say you're pointing your camera up at the stars, and you want to get that like where it looks like the star is traveling across the sky with a tail. That's what you can achieve with this camera. They're really touting this as kind of like a DSLR in your phone. So we'll take just a couple of shots to show you how quickly it takes pictures. I'm going to bring it back into manual mode here. And you guys can see just how quickly we're taking pictures. And if I focus in on the background, you guys can see how quickly the focus works. So this camera is really quite amazing. It could be the best camera on the market for smartphones right now. It's kind of early for me to say that because I've only had just a little bit of experience with it. But in my opinion, so far, this could very well even beat the Galaxy S6 camera. So getting back to the specs, we do have that 16 megapixel rear-facing camera. We also have an 8 megapixel front-facing camera, and the rear-facing camera does 4K video. So if we compare the Galaxy S6 Edge next to the LG G4, you guys can see just how much larger the display is. And the phone itself is not really much larger at all. So part of that is because the S6 is rocking the hardware and capacitive buttons, while the LG G4 has on-screen buttons, which I have to say I really do kind of like the on-screen buttons. One thing that I love about the S6 Edge is the fingerprint scanner, and so for that reason I really do like that home button just because of the fingerprint scanner. But is the fingerprint scanner worth losing out on stock Android software buttons? So as far as like a comparison on design between the LG G4 and the S6 Edge, the S6 Edge definitely wins in the design category in my opinion. The LG G4 still looks pretty sharp with that diamond plate looking plastic back. Of course the leather back I'm sure would be really nice too, and it would feel premium. That's not the version that I have here. The Galaxy S6 Edge has glass on the back, glass on the front, and the metal edges, whereas the LG G4 has the plastic shiny edges which look like metal, but they are plastic. Either way, the G4 still feels like a solid, sturdy device. It doesn't really feel cheap in the hand necessarily, like some plastic phones. If you remember back to the Galaxy S3 days, those phones kind of felt cheap, and as Samsung came along, they made their phones feel more and more expensive. LG G4 still remains a sturdy feeling phone, but it has the plastic. I really like the fact that the S6 paid a little more attention to detail and design. So as you guys can see, the G4 is running LG's custom overlay of Android. We'll take a further look at the software itself. So we'll go to General, About Phone, Software Info, and you guys can see that we're on Android 5.1, build number LMY47D. And while this is running LG's overlay, it's not very bloated. So I've noticed if I go into the app drawer, you guys can see there's not really a whole lot that's included here. We have a couple of Google applications. We've got just a few utilities, downloads, and file manager from LG. We do have their version of the Internet Explorer. We've got their gallery there. We have their weather app. We have LG Health, LG Backup, and McAfee comes preloaded. You have the Q remote, which takes advantage of that IR blaster up top, so you're able to control your TV. We've got a task application, and then we have Q Memo. So other than that, this is a pretty clean ROM when it comes to Android overlays. But I don't see anything that would bog down this device. Everything looks nice and clean and simple. So overall, guys, this looks like an awesome phone. I cannot wait to really test this out and give it a try. And like I said, guys, the selling feature here is that 16 megapixel f1.8 aperture camera, and I will be testing that out to the max. I'm going to take lots of photos with that. I'm actually going on a trip to see my brother graduate this coming up week, so I'll be sure to test out that camera and report back to you guys. I'll also be sure to put up a full review. This is kind of just the first impressions of the phone itself. And if you like this video, be sure to give it a big thumbs up. Subscribe to this channel for more content like this in the future. You can find more of me at droidmodderx.com. Follow me on Twitter at droidmodderx. Thanks, guys, for watching. Be blessed. I'll see you in the next one.